I'm wearing a healing legendary. Well, that's a thing. Good morning, people, and welcome to the Demonetized Project. The Demonetized Project. What's happening? I'm going to kill a couple of birds with one stone here today. One, many of you are asking to see some Brewmaster action. I think that's a good idea, man. I think that's a good idea. I haven't played Brewmaster in ages. Let me put my hat on. Because I like gaming with my hat on. I know some of you don't like it, but it's my hat. And I'll wear it if I want to, man. I'll wear it if I want to. I'm demonetized now. You can't mess with me. It's been a weird week. I actually did a couple of dailies. One that instantly was taken down. And the other one where the audio was really wonky. I linked it in Twitter. I'll put it in the description down below as well. It's the Shadow Priest one. It's me making amends for downplaying Misery too much and explaining why I did that. So Shadow Priests out there, you can have a watch of me doing some Shadow. I paid my dues. I did a 15 in here. With a very low HP Shadow Priest, so I knew I was going to die horribly. We had a pug healer. It was all good fun. I died many, many times, so you can have fun with it. Nothing I could do about it much, realistically, but life's a bitch. What are you going to do? Life's a bitch. So I thought we'd get some Brewmaster action on, because Brewmaster is a lot of fun. I like it. And we're doing Grievous teaming, I think? Something like that. You know, it's something like that. Yeah. Sanguine. Grievous Sanguine. That's the business. That's what we're doing. And Tartu, because obviously it's a 13, my character's pretty high. I'll show him off in a second so you guys can get an idea of gear and whatnot. But he's a good character. There's no doubt about it. He's 918, I think. Something like that. I mean, you know, overgeared for this, for sure. But that's not our problem, is it? That's not our problem. We're here to have some fun. But what I thought I could tell you guys about was actually PvP, mate! PvP, mate! Because it's often something I'm asked is, do you PvP? And the answer is always, universally, no, I do not. No, I do not. Why, though? Why don't you PvP? Because I've seen your PvP video, and you were very into PvP at one point, Preacher, so what's the story? Yes, so if you don't know, which I'm sure some of you don't, my very first ever video ever was a PvP video. Yes, the first video I ever made to be put online was a PvP video. And it was universally praised, actually. Even though it was my very first video, it had, I think now it's at 1.5 million views, but it was Hall of Fame Warcraft movies for a really long time. This guy's got a misdirection macro in a pug, though? Bruh! What? In this day and age, you are nuts. DPS is pretty good, actually. I can pull a bit more hardcore than this. God, I'm so slow in walk. Water walking, please, priest. You can do it. I believe. I believe in my priest. I believe in water walking. So what happened? Well, I have to take you back, ladies and gents. We gotta go back in time, yo. To when I first got into PvP, which was not when I made my PvP video, because I made my PvP video in the Burning Crusade. There was a time when I was into PvP long before that. I don't know if you guys are hearing that, but people are subscribing to my Twitch while I'm offline. I just want to say, I have to say this, and I probably have to mention it for a while, so get used to it, because it's awesome, is the sheer amount of support that you guys have thrown at us since YouTube stopped earning us any money, which it pretty much has at this point, has been overwhelming. So, I mean, like this video that I'm making right now for you, and hopefully it's going to put a little smile on your face. We don't know what's going to happen yet. Everything looks pretty good so far. Is not worth anything monetarily. It's not worth anything. Like, it'll be instantly demonetized. I'm not sure if I've swore yet. I don't think so. I usually can't switch it off. But we'll see, I suppose. That is the situation. So I'm now essentially making YouTube videos for fun. What that's going to lead to in the short term, I don't know. What it's going to lead to in the future, I don't know. But something will happen for sure. I mean, we're obviously going to be focusing a lot more on Patreon now. And putting stuff out there way earlier, if not like some stuff that might be exclusive. I mean, they already have an exclusive series in the form of a show we make called Baited, which we're going to be filming our next episode of on Wednesday. But generally speaking, that's something you need to be aware of. Oh, I should have moved from that, shouldn't I? Lol. Now the healer's like, uh-oh. we got One of those tanks. Yeah, sorry, bro. Sorry. Wasn't intentional. Was talking. And often people mistake that. Like, I'm talking about stuff, and my brain is obviously not right here, right now. You know what I mean? It's... I would think it wouldn't need explaining, but, you know. Such is life. Such is life. So... Yeah, look. See, I moved from it. I'm not that much of a noob. You can see. Let's pop shield wall, why not? Looks like we're going to be here for a while anyway. An all melee group is not the best here, that's for sure. An all melee group is not the best. But either way, in vanilla was the first time I got into PvP. In vanilla. Why? Why did I get into PvP then and not somewhere else? If they release, actually, they release down here, don't they? Rezzing that man actually slowed us down. I came from a PvP MMO. My first ever MMO, for those of you who don't know, was a game called Neocron. Now, Neocron was a PvP MMO. It had PvE, kind of. Like, it's a post-apocalyptic MMO, where you had this one city that was very much like a Blade Runner style city. You have this one city that encompassed most, where all the shops and stuff were, right? All the shops were there. And in that city, you did pretty much everything. Like this was your home, this was your hub, this was everything. No one coming? Are you all fighting the other mobs? Oh, okay. I mean, I should have skulled it, I suppose. My bad, I guess. I don't think so, though. I mean, it's pretty obvious I was over here, right? My heal is nearly dead. I think we might have some undergeared bros in here, maybe. We'll see, we'll see. I mean, it's pretty standard to kill those. Let's do the sweet diffuse healing. Look at it. Oh, shit. Diffuse, baby. Diffusing. Diffusing. Has he got us? Is the Grievous over? I don't want to stress my man out during Grievous. Like, I'm okay. Like, I can keep going and can expel harm mine off like that, so it's all good. Anyway, yeah, it was a post-apocalyptic world that contained one city called Neocron, and then the vast majority of the map. So Neocron took up one square of the map, which was about a 50-square map. The rest of it was a desert wilderness that had various outposts in it that were essentially just PvP locations. That's all they were. And the idea was that for good PvP, you would go out there and take outposts. Like, once you had an organized clan or a guild or whatever, that's what you would do. You would go out and you would take outposts, and then people would try and take... Because once you had the outpost, like, you took that outpost for your faction. So I think they had, like, 10 factions. It wasn't like WoW with 2. Try to think of it more in terms of races. So, like, you would be fighting with Blood Elves only. Think of it that way. And you would take that clan for your people. And then you would get bonuses from there, like profession bonuses, just for your faction, right? Just for your faction, you would get bonuses. Healer's really out of mana here. Ricky. Do you want a minute, Ricky? Do you want to get some mana, bruv? Are you good? You let me know. He's got a defiled rune on. Ricky's maybe a little undergeared for this, or maybe he's just popping whatever the fuck he feels like. I'll go use a rune with you, Ricky. Me and you are fucking bros, son. We got this. All right, he's casting. I'm out of here. And, it was really quite fun. It was really quite fun. But at the time, I was still young. I mean, this is like pre-WoW. So I was still the super teenager of Justice. What does that mean? If you didn't like PvP, mate, you was gay, pretty much. You know what I mean? You was gay. I love doing that voice. Anytime I can break out the PvP voice, I will take it. I will take it. But I was definitely that guy. Without question, I was that guy. It was like, you want what do you mean you want PvE? And like, when you owned a clan... you used to be able to lock the outposts, because the outposts had teleporters in them. They had teleporters inside them that were only usable by... You could either let it for your entire side, so although there was a lot of factions, the other thing about it... Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. There you go. Bit more. Bit more. Nice. Nice. The other thing about it is that you could decide who you wanted to open the door to come and use your teleporter. So you could use like anybody you wanted, right? So you could make it faction only, you could make it guild only, and depending on your personality as a guild master, which I was the clan leader for a while, you could be a real dick about it, because it was generally accepted that you would leave it open to all your faction, and usually your entire side. So, like, you might have 8 factions, but 4 of them belongs to one side of the war, right? Essentially. That's the kind of idea that went behind it. Is that you all belong to one side of this great war that had led to the catastrophe, whatever the nonsense was, some shit like that. And I liked it quite a lot, honestly. Hold on. Time to get a bit fancy. You know what I just found out? Piercing shards is tank-based. I've been studying that and, like, just thinking it's just the trash on so many occasions, and now I know. I mean, it hurts like a bitch. Yeah, like that. Okay, so I can't move out the way of it. Hold on, I'm just doing some science here. Whoa. Got me eventually. Sucker. Got me eventually. I was hoping just the 2 would be fine, but there you go. That was my fault, actually. I didn't know piercing shards worked that way. Interesting. You know why that is? I typically just, on my DK, I turn it around, but we pulled it in a weird place. And also, the tanks I've played with have always just turned it around. Now you know. So I definitely was of the opinion that if you didn't PvP, mate, then you was just bad. You was, like, bad at the game and that. And you should probably just, like, stop being such a bitch and learn to PvP. And if you didn't PvP, you were basically a noob. Although some people just like being supports to the clans. They really enjoyed that aspect of it. And I could actually see the appeal of that as I got older. It's like, I'm not into just PvPing all day, every day. You know, that's not what I'm about. And so there was people who just wanted to build weapons for people and stuff like that. But in terms of the PvE, it was kind of crappy. You just farm endlessly respawning mobs. And you can buff enemies as well. So what you do is find enemies that spawned other mobs. And there were certain caves and stuff where this was quite rampant. You would find places where there's an enemy that spawns more enemies, and then you would buff them so that, like, you could AoE this tunnel for about 25 to 30 minutes. I'm not joking. You would just stand there pressing your one AoE spell over and over and over and over again. And buff the mobs so they wouldn't die. It was really quite ingenious. It would definitely be something the hardcore of WoW would do, and no questions asked. Sometimes it went wrong. no doubt at all. Sometimes it went horribly wrong, but for the most part it was fine. Let's purify that. Yeah, much smoother when I don't play like an absolute bell sprout, so there's my fail of the day. There's my fail of the day. We can take it on the chin as a man. Still killed me, though. So focused on survivability. Well, there you go. I thought we did alright, then. Did I take a ton of healing? Yeah, Rico's like putting 700 into me. Boom! 11 million. Nasty. Nasty stuff. Nasty stuff. Nasty, nasty stuff. But we got there. We got there, and that's what matters. So I came from that game. I came from that game, and it really was kind of fine to... Because I never liked the PvE in Neocron, right? I thought PvE was for losers. And then I came to WoW and realized, oh, Neocron's just bad at PvP. Now I get it. It just has terrible PvE. But being like a youngster, getting into this new genre of games called MMOs, that never even occurred to me as being potentially a thing, that, like, the game was bad, because I love the game, and all my friends love the game. It can't be that. No, and then I came to World of Warcraft and I was like, what is this? Like coordination, tactics, this is awesome, bro! And my PvP desires definitely went away. Rather rapidly, I want to say. Rather rapidly. So, I came to WoW and instantly had lost all interest in PvP. But my friends hadn't. My Neocron friends who came with me, they hadn't lost the thirst for it at all. No, they quite liked it, in fact. They were very, very still into PvP. But they were of the opinion, like all noobs are when you start PvP. It's like, I need gear, mate, before I even try doing PvP. I'm not even going to friggin' bother, mate, until we've got, like, well good gear. Right? So, it was around the time we started doing Molten Core together that we started to get that gear, mate. I had purples on and that, and I was, like, learning to priest decently well for a clicker. Right? Still a clicker, nonetheless, but decently well. And it got to the point where the thirst came. Because one of my friends who went to PvP was a warrior, and one of them was a warlock. And they both hungered for the PvP. They hungered for it in a very, very real way. And so they needed a healer. They roped Daddy back in. They roped Daddy back in big time. And I gotta say, I loved it. Why? Well, now I had some perps on me. I wasn't dying anywhere near as much. Not only that, my friends were really starting to kill a lot of people. And with me healing them, we managed to dominate most BGs. And by dominate, what I mean is that we had the most KDs. Which is everything, man. We had the most KDs. Oh, man. You can't even imagine it. What a bunch of bros we were. So, that was my enterings into the PvP world proper in WoW. And I mean farming constantly. So if you don't know how PvP works in vanilla, you would farm as much on as you could during the reset. And then every Wednesday, Blizzard would compare you to the server. Whether that was like at the very, very top end, I'm not sure. But basically, they'd add up all the honor you've earned and then assign you a rank. And that rank determined any gear rewards you could get from it. So in the early ranks, you could get some very basic blue gear. And then once you started to hit the good ranks, which we did, I'm not even paying attention here. This is what happens when I start talking to you guys. A lot of you wonder, like, why do you make so many mistakes when you're filming? It's because I'm thinking about vanilla and PvP stories. That's all. There's nothing more to it than that. I started to get really into it, especially when we started getting to ranks that not everybody had. No one knows where we're going, do they? Okay. We're just guessing. This is bad. I've guessed this entirely because I was Sith Lording at the enemy. Ha! I am your god. Bow before me. I can't believe that worked. That's awesome. That's what I started to do, is get really into it. Really, really into it. But we were terrible! Oh my god. All I cared about, and I remember it distinctly, was, am I top of the healing meter in this BG? And I used to call out with the healers like, that guy's healing really lots. You know, really good English. You know, PvP English. That guy is healing really loads. I can tell that because I'm healing really loads and he's doing as much healing as me. Ergo, that guy is healing really loads. And that was my first foray into like calling out PvP targets. But we were the people you absolutely did not want to see in your BG because we just farmed on it. What we would do is this to help people. In order to help, we would run to the middle and farm the whole team. You guys go and get the flag. We got this. You know, that kind of attitude. And that probably resonates with so many of you. And you're not helping in the least, in fact. Like, you might kill quite a few of them, and then you still feel like you did a good job, because you definitely killed quite a lot of them. But it's BG PvP. Like, especially in pugs, you're always going to kill somebody. That's like the easy part. That's the easy part, is actually killing somebody. Did you run all the... That's like line of sight city, bro. That's line of sight city. Yeah, you didn't want us in your BG, but we won a lot. Probably won about as many as we lost. I would imagine. But I only remember the good times. Because I was having fun with my mates. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It was random BGs. It was nothing to be too upset about, you know, as far as I was concerned. But the problem occurred, of course, when I started to lose interest in it. And you know why? Classic newbie. You ready? Oh, man. That if the rest of the stuff didn't resonate with you, this will. I started to not get as a rank every week because you started to start like taking it pretty seriously. I think I got to like high legionnaire, like rank 12 or something like that, and maybe 11. I can't remember. But I started to not get as many ranks. I wasn't getting a rank a week anymore, pretty much. You're in Sanguine. Get out of there, dude. And at that point, once I'd stopped getting that every week, I was starting to get annoyed. And then I think I took a week off because I was starting to get annoyed. And the result of that, as you can probably imagine, if you ever played it, was that my rank went down, which could happen. I think I just got into my highest rank of all time, which was like High Legionnaire or whatever. But your rank could go back down again. And at that point, it was GG. It was GG for me. I was like, I am done with this garbage. But I'll be totally honest with you, I was sort of losing interest in it anyway, because it was just the same thing over and over again. Like, we weren't in an organized PvP team. There was the three of us going into BGs to crack some skulls, as we'd put it. You know, we were really into it. Gonna crack some heads today, boys. Cracking skulls and that. You want to go and own some noobs was probably some stuff that we said all the time. But I was losing interest in it because we were starting to get higher up in PvE, and it was only getting better and better. Like, we were starting to look at Blackwing Lair, and Nixia was on, like, steady farm. I was starting to make raid calls, which you can probably imagine I started to adore intensely. You guys are dying to so much stuff. Fortified Trash and Elf Slayer is no joke, so this probably looks very similar to my Priest. Come on. Like, I can't move that out of there. I could make it go faster. There we go. Keep myself topped off. I don't want that Grievous ticking up on me. Is it out of Sanguine? There we go. That was my feelings on it. Is I started to lose interest. PvE was just so much better. It was so much better. And I started to find PGs so repetitive. Like the same ones over and over again. And obviously we didn't have that many in vanilla either. But I was committed to my friends. I was their healer. I knew that if I left, it was going to be nothing like it was. It was going to be nothing like it was. Of that there was no doubt. Of that there was no doubt. So, it kind of came at the right time, is that I could just say, I haven't got time for, like, what this actually needs. Now I know what it needs. Now I was starting to be aware that I needed to farm, like, a lot of honor. A lot of BGs for our little little three-man team to deal with. And I think the guys were trying to get in the same way. So we left it alone for a long time, and my rank had decayed so much that when their thirst came back, I was, like, ready to go, nah. Nah, I'm not doing all that again. Like, I felt like going backwards. I'm kind of glad Blizzard did remove that, because it did feel like ultimately you were just going backwards all the time, which is never fun. You don't want that. Come on. Oh, 9 minutes. We need to get a wriggle on here. 9 minutes on a plus 13. We should be wrecking that. Oh, well, it's fortified Neltharian's Lair. Whatever. It doesn't matter. So that's when I stopped in vanilla, purely because it became very repetitive to me, and I was done with it at that point. But the fun didn't stop there, because if any of you have seen my PvP video, you'll know it took place in the Burning Crusade, and yes, my thirst returned. Why? I finally was able to play my warrior as a main, and that meant that I was ready to mortal strike some fools and get a big old kick out of it. Not only that, I was in a very, very good guild by the time it happened. This was during the Black Temple is when my thirst for PvP... Oh, shit. I totally forgot that was happening just then. Did he eat someone else? What happened? Was that not Spike Tongue? No. No, it was Toxic Reach. Duh. Never mind. That was just me picnicking because I thought it was Spike Tongue time. well, yeah, it was during the Black Temple, and I was a prot warrior, but I was a prot warrior who was getting Black Temple gear. Ooh, yeah, that's right, Black Temple gear. Tasty. What did that mean? Is that it means I could one-shot noobs, pretty much. And by noobs, I don't mean bad players. I just mean players who had less gear than me, and like starters and new players, I could just wreck them, and that felt really good. I'm not gonna lie, it did. It really did feel good. I felt powerful, strong, mighty. The same thing that most crappy PvPers feel. You know, I owned you, noob. Which is like, in WoW PvP is like, yeah, I mean, everybody dies sometimes, right? I mean, it's not that big of a deal, really. It's certainly not that big of a deal. But I was really into it. Running up to people and one-shotting them, I would scream over vent. I'm like, woohoo! I kicked ass, dude! I kicked ass! And absolutely love and adore it. So I was into it again, and that's when I'd seen other PvP movies, and they were very well respected. Like, there was gods of PvP, right? And they were so well respected that I wanted to be a part of that, because at that time I was definitely thirsty for attention, and PvP seems the way to go. Like PvE, I was never going to be good enough to be like somebody recognized for PvE at that time. There was no way. Like, my guild was like a top 100 guild, but that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough, right, to get recognized as some sort of PvE guy. And plus, it was before YouTube. I wasn't looking to start a channel. I just wanted to make a video, which is kind of where I'm back to now, which is why I'm talking about this. I'm kind of back to that point where I just want to make a video. I want to play some Brewmaster. I want to talk to you guys and have some fun. Make mistakes, learn, understand, get better, never make that mistake again. That's what it's all about. That's how we get better. It's the only thing we can ever do in this game is to improve and become better and better and better, which is where you lead to getting the good stuff. So that was kind of my scenario, right? That was my scenario. I enjoyed it, and then it got serious. And I regret it to this day. We're starting to take PvP seriously. So I had 3 teams. I had a twos team, which was a Paladin Warrior, which was my highest team. That was like 2.1k, which was really high at the time. And my threes team, which was a Warrior, Priest, Rogue. It's the worst comp imaginable. It's like the absolute worst comp imaginable. And that's okay. That was okay because it was just for fun, and my twos team was where I really got all my points and stuff from. What that meant is that we could play a bad comp with friends, and we would rock about 1800, sometimes 1900 on that team. But all that would happen is eventually we'd get counter comps once we reached a certain level and just get buried back down again. So every weekend, we used to set aside an entire Saturday to PvP mate. And we PvP mate for a whole afternoon. Yeah, sorry. We PvP mate for a whole afternoon, and then we would go up to something like 1900, 1950, and after that, we would get battered in the same afternoon back down to where we started. It was pretty much every weekend. Some weekends slightly higher, some slightly lower, but it was fine. Like, it didn't need my points. When did I turn away from it? Certainly the making the PvP video turned me off, because that was like 6 months of production, and it took a lot of fun out of it, because I was just after footage of certain things or games where I did something special, because it's hard to, like, mistakes are really easy to spot, but really good plays aren't that easy to spot because they're happening all the time. And you also feel like a douche pointing them out all the time to people. So ultimately, my decision was, I need to PvP for footage and not for fun, right? And that really spoiled the hell out of it, like, so badly. I felt kind of like I'd ruined it for myself, and that was one part of it. It wasn't the whole reason by any means. I don't want anyone to think that was the whole reason, because it absolutely was not. The next biggest reason, truth be told, was that I found out what it was like at the high end. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I found out about all the counter-comping and all that kind of stuff. That is what the top end of PvP Arena was all about. And I hated it so much. And I would have these moments where I had one game, and I still remember, this is how bad it was, I still remember it to this day. This one game where me and Elfie, who was my paladin in 2s, played perfectly, and still lost. I was so angry. Because there was no way we could win. There was just no possible way we could win. And I don't know what was the deal with it or anything like that. I just know this was the scenario. So it was a game. I even remember the game. It was against a Druid Hunter, which some people who played PvP during TBC will know about. Druid Hunter. And basically I had a lot of jobs there as a warrior to even give us a chance at possibly winning. And one of them was like, I had to make sure that if he dropped a frost trap, that I got rid of it by standing in it. I had to soak it for him, so I'd have to like intercept and fix it. Let's use this one. Looks good. Yeah, I was standing it and soak them all and intervene certain attacks. I think I had to intervene Mana Sting as well. It's like a few things. So basically I had to time those perfectly in order for us to even have a chance of not just being kited to death. And he had to stop me getting kited by soaking stuff. And we did it perfectly and we lost. And not even like a slight loss either. It was just the most painfully long loss of my life because it lasted forever. And we both kind of just talked about it afterwards and were like, this isn't fun. This is not fun. That's the first time I've done Notharian's Lair. That's funny. This is not fun. At all. And that's when it killed it for me. Like, learning what it was really like at the top end is what ruined it for me completely. What did I get? The Band of the Worm Matron. Ooh. I'm wearing a healing legendary. Well, that's a thing.
The power of the Mad King Dargroll is broken, and High Mountain has you to thank, heroes.
Yeah, finding out what it was like is what killed it for me. And that's when my thirst completely died. Pretty much. I've dabbled in PvP a little bit since then, but it's really dead for me once I reach that point. Maybe it's changed now. Maybe it's different. I don't know. Maybe it is different, but that is how it is for me right now. Anyway, tomorrow I've got another little story for you, so pay attention to that. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.